Hey there, everyone. We are back for Lab 2, Sheet 2. Let's go ahead and get started. We just did Lab 2, Sheet 1. We've got everything set up in here in our Lab 2 submissions folder, and we're just going to open up Lab 2, Sheet 2, the file we created before. So this should just be your blank title block. I'll go ahead and open that up. And looking at our, this is from the portal. This is just our preview window. This is the shape that we're drawing, which admittedly does look a little complicated. However, with the tools, most of the tools we already know. A couple new tools. This is actually, we're going to make quick work of this, and you're going to see it's actually not very difficult at all. So let's go ahead and get started. So once you have your title block open, go into model space, and we're going to turn on grid snap just for a minute here to get started, and then we're going to turn it off for the rest of the time. So first, we're going to grab our center diameter circle tool, and somewhere kind of in the top left portion of the page, I think I'm going to start this about, maybe an inch and a half from the top of the page. Remember, these nice grid lines here are giving me a 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and 1.5. So go ahead and start right there. And our diameter here is going to be 0.375. Now from here, we're going to select that circle, and we're going to use a new tool called the rectangular array. So click on your array drop down, click rectangular array. Alternatively, you can type array, enter, and then it's going to ask rectangular, path, or polar. You can click on rectangular or type rec, enter. And it's going to bring up this kind of crazy array of a bunch of different circles with a new menu up here. There's a bolded one that says array creation. So we're going to change some settings in here. So there's going to be 2 columns. And I just click tab there to execute that. And then I'm going to click, it's going to be 2 rows. And for the columns for between, we're going to make that 4 inches between. And for the rows between, we're going to make that 2.5. But if you see, that's going to put that, that's going to draw those 2.5 inches up. So what we really want to do is type -2.5. Just like that. And again, I just clicked enter there, but you can click tab. That'll also execute it. And go ahead and close your array. You know what, looking at this now, this looks like a little bit too close to the top of my page here. So I'm going to highlight all of those. You can move these. So this is going to, when you highlight those, it's going to open the array command box here again. What you could do is just come over here and click home. That'll bring up your normal ribbon. And then you can move those. You click here or type M, enter. And I'm just going to move those down maybe 1/2 inch, 0.5, enter. And from here, let's turn off our grid snap. Now grab your circle diameter tool again. Alternatively, you can type C, enter. And then create a circle, a concentric circle here. So just hover over, grab your midpoint. And once you have the midpoint, so since I typed C, enter, I entered it that way. It's asking me for a radius. So I have to type D, enter to get into the diameter tool. And this is going to be a 1 inch diameter. And from here, instead of using the array tool, we can just highlight our circle, type our copy tool, or CO, enter. You can grab it that way too. Start at the midpoint of the circle, and then just copy it around. Remember, hover over the perimeter of each circle for just a second, and that will give you the midpoint that you can then snap to. Now, from here, we need to find the location of these little points here. And we don't have an exact dimension, but we can pretty easily figure it out. We have 2 inches or 2.5 inches here. We have 1.5 inch right here. So it looks like a 1/2 inch down, and then 1.5 inches over, just like that. So what we can do here to to create these slots is I'm just going to draw some reference lines. So starting at the center of this top left circle, I'm going to draw, just kind of drag straight down, and you could type 0.5, enter. That's going to drag it straight down, or draw a 0.5 line straight down, and then dragging it straight over here to the right, I'm going to type 1.5, enter. So now we have a 90-degree line, or two lines 90 degrees apart, or 90 degrees perpendicular to each other, 1/2 inch down, 1.5 inches over. And this is the point for our next circle. So we're going to grab our circle diameter tool, starting at this point that we've just created, make that a 0.281 inch diameter circle, enter. Now, before we do anything else, let's go ahead and delete this line, these two lines. So just click on both of them and click delete on your keyboard. Now from here, we need to figure out, or we need to then create another circle over here to create this slot as well. So we see from here, this point here as a reference, we're 1.5 inches over for here, for this slot, and 2.5 inches over for this slot. So these slots are 1 inch apart, and we can use that to copy this circle, CO, enter, or you can click it up here in the modify toolbar, click anywhere on the screen, drag it towards this direction, and before you click anything, type 1, enter. Now you're still going to be in your copy command, so go ahead and click escape. And the next thing we're going to do is copy those again, CO, enter, and those are going to be copied straight down 1.5 inches. Then go ahead and click escape again. Now to create that slot, before we do anything else, I want to double check your object snaps are on correctly. So if we click on this little drop down right next to this, our little pick point indicator, the icon down there, just grab this. You can check them here. Alternatively, you can go into the object snap settings and just make sure that your quadrant snap and your tangent snap are turned on. And again, you can double check. These are what I had you set up last week, but these should already be on. Go ahead and click OK. Now from here, grab your line tool or type L, enter, and then snap right here to this quadrant. Drag it straight down and snap to this quadrant right here. And to get out of the line tool, just click escape. Now from here, we can copy this over. So I'm going to type CO, enter. Just start, start right here at the end point of that line or the quadrant. So it's either going to be a square or a triangle that for your pick box. Go ahead and paste. So just left click, left click, left click. Now we're going to use our trim tool. So you can click it right here or type TR, enter, enter, and go ahead and trim. You can either click or you can click, drag, click again to delete the inner arc of that circle to create these slots. So next, what we need to do is create these arcs right here that are tangent to these circles that we have. If you're not familiar with that term tangent, if you haven't taken, everybody's probably taken geometry at some point. If you haven't taken trigonometry or calculus, when you take those, you'll definitely understand what a tangent line is. But what a tangent line is when you have a circle and you draw a line that intersects that circle only at one point, that is a tangent line. So what we want to do here is create an arc that's tangent to both of these circles. And to do that, we have a tool in the circle tools. So drop down under circle tools and click this tan radius button. So what we want to do here is somewhere in this top right area of this circle, top right kind of quadrant of this circle, click somewhere on here, and it's going to give you, before you click, it's going to give you a little indicator that allows you to snap to, or to not to snap, to click a tangent line. So we're going to click there, tangent to that circle. And then in the top left quadrant, this like 90-degree section of the circle, we're going to click again. And now it's asking for a radius, and we're going to type 4, enter. And that's going to give us this really big circle that's tangent to both of these smaller circles and has a radius. You can highlight that and see a radius of 4 inches. And we're going to do that again. Go ahead and grab your tan radius. Click somewhere here, and type 4, enter. Now, 2 more times, we need to do that 2 more times smaller though. Tan radius, grab there, and these are going to be 0.75 inch radius. Now you could do that again. You can do the tan radius again, or you can select this and mirror it. I'm going to type MI, enter, or again, you can grab your mirror command right here, and I'm just going to mirror it across this vertical line that is the midpoint of those other circles. And I am not going to erase my source object. Now we have all the lines we need, except we need to trim a bunch of stuff. So in order to do that, you could use the TR enter tool and just kind of come in and trim like TR enter. I can trim here, I can trim here, I can trim here. But another way to do that is to type, or I'm sorry, click all 4 of these circles, type TR and click enter once. Then you can click anywhere like on the outside of this circle, on the inside, oops, I'm sorry, on the outside of this circle, just like that. Now we can go TR enter and trim the inside arc of these circles. There we go. There we have it. And we are almost done. Next, let's turn our grid snap on one more time. Go ahead and grab your rectangle tool. Maybe start this. You want to start this a little lower. You got a lot of dimensions. If you look at our sheet, we got a lot of dimensions we got to fit in here. So let's start this kind of lower on the page. I'm going to go ahead and start this. That's an inch, kind of an inch below, 2 inches below. I'm going to say, let's go 2.5 inches below. That's below where this circle is, below where this quadrant is. So starting here, I'm going to kind of drag up and to the right, D, enter, and that's going to be 5, enter, 0.3, enter. And now we have our rectangle. We just have to snap to a quadrant, and I'm going to snap it kind of to the top right here, just like that. Next, we need to create a number of hidden lines and center lines, vertical hidden lines and center lines on this view. Because if you turn this bracket to the side, or this gasket, whatever it is, you turn this to the side and look at it head on, you're not going to see anything. It's just going to kind of look like a rectangle. But for our manufacturers, we want to indicate to them that there are, in fact, holes that cut all the way through this part. So what we want to do is come up and grab our construction lines. Alternatively, you can type XL, enter, V, enter for vertical. And anywhere that there is a hole cut through, you're going to go through here, and where there would be a hidden line, you're going to go ahead and click. If your grid snap is giving you problems, go ahead and turn that off. Click here, click here, click here, click here, 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 and here. And we also want to grab our center lines. So we're going to do another XL, enter, V, enter, or underneath the draw, you're going to grab your little construction line right there. And anywhere that there's a center of a circle or a hole, you're going to click that as well. So before we do anything else, we need to bring in some dashed lines and some center lines, center line types. And to do that, come up here to this properties menu. The third drop-down box right here, these are line types, and we can click other, load, and just kind of scroll through this list until you find center 2. You want the center 2 because it's like half line type, or I'm sorry, half the scale. So you can see like normal center, and then center 2 is about half the size of the line. So we're going to grab center 2, click OK. And now we have that in our line type manager. We're going to load another one. We're going to load hidden 2, just like that. Click OK. Now, before we go ahead and trim everything off, all of our hidden lines, so which are these outer lines, not the center lines here, but the outer lines on each of our circles, we're going to highlight all of those lines. So just go ahead and click through them. If you need to, go ahead and pause the video when I have all these highlighted, so you're selecting all the correct lines. And in your line type manager up here, click the drop down and make those hidden 2. Then select all the other lines, the lines that are still continuous, which are the center lines. Click on those and make those center 2 to differentiate between the 2 line types. Now, highlight this rectangle and type TR and click enter 1 time. Then just kind of click, and I let go, and then you move your cursor over here to the left, click again. And that's going to trim everything above this rectangle, and do the same thing below. And the only thing that I would say here is the center lines look like continuous lines. So what we want to do is type LT scale. And it's going to ask you for a new line type scale. So right now, the global scale factor for our lines is 1. That's the default. And we're going to make this 0.5. So we can see our hidden lines are a little bit, look a little bit better, but our center lines still look continuous. So what we can do then is go ahead and click all of our center lines. You can do an LT scale of 0.25. That would make everything, that would change everything. But I like how the hidden lines look here. So let's just select our center lines, and then up in the local LT scale, which is still 1, because our global scale is at half scale. So our local scale would still be 1, and then it would be affected by the global. So you don't have to really worry about that right now. All you have to do is in this LT scale right here, type 0.5. And now we can see our center lines look really nice. They look just perfect. We can tell that we can differentiate them from the continuous lines. We can differentiate them from our hidden lines. With that, we have the entire part drafted, and all we have left to do here is add our dimensions. So we'll go ahead and do that. So top to bottom here, and I'm going to drag this guy out, maybe out to here. Dimension from the center of this circle to the center of this circle, drag this dimension out to here. Before we do anything else, let's change our precision, our dim sty, to 3 decimal places here. So I'm going to type DIMSTY, enter. Again, another place to find that is up in the annotation toolbar. You can click this box here. It's like next to the second drop down. Go ahead and click that. Modify. And in primary units, precision, make that 3 decimal places and click OK. And then we're going to go through and add the rest of our dimensions. I'm going to drag this down. You don't want to get it like too close. You don't want it overlapping. I will take points off if it's overlapping. So just kind of get it, kind of close down here. We need to make room for a lot of other dimensions. Then from circle to circle, I drag it down. From this circle to the second slot, And remember, it's going to give you kind of a diagonal. So drag it to the left, drag your cursor to the left of the leftmost leader, and then you can go ahead and place. Do it one more time. To this slot, same deal, left of the leader and place, just like that. Now we have them nicely kind of organized here. Nothing's overlapping. And with this dimension, this is getting pretty close to the edge of the page. So what I'm going to do here is just select it, click on this point, on this little handle, as I call it, and just drag it in just a little bit. And that actually does, you can check, you can go over to Paperspace and just check. It's like pretty close over here. So what I want to do is just highlight the whole entire thing and move it over just a tiny bit. If yours doesn't look too close to the side of the screen, then you're fine. You don't have to do that step, but I'm going to do it just to kind of use the space a little bit more intelligently on my page, how it's going to plot on my 8x8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And let's go ahead and continue with these dimensions. So we've got another dimension down here. I'm going to type DIM enter to get back into it. Drag that out like that. And then we're going to grab this, the center of that circle, the center of that circle. That's going to be 1.5. And I'm going to line mine up with this 0.3. I think that kind of looks nice to line dimensions up like that. And from here, we need some radius dimensions. Now, if yours isn't the main option right here, you can drop down, find your radius tool, and we're going to go ahead and just start pulling radiuses off. So there's one like that. If you click spacebar, it'll grab the radius again, the radius tool again. You can go in like this. So you could just place it anywhere. What I like to do when I'm doing stuff like this is hover over that endpoint and just drag it straight out. And then you can grab, and then you can place horizontal, like, even coincident on this horizontal line here, which I like to do. I think that looks nice. So grab this guy, kind of drag him straight out, boom, just like that. That is not required. That's just stylistic. And that's when I draft professionally, I do stuff like this all the time. And one more, just like that. And now what I'd like you to do is change all of these tick marks to the closed filled arrows. So just select that, select all these radiuses, radii, is it radii? I know that you could say radiuses, and you can also say radii. That's what it is. Radii and radiuses are both correct according to the dictionary. And lines and arrows here in our properties panel, go ahead and click that, scroll all the way up, click close filled, and then turn your center marks off. So turn them to none, just like that. Last but not least, we're going to edit the 3.5 and the 5-inch dimension. Just double click on them, click the left arrow, and then make a left bracket. Go to the right side, make a right bracket. And then on the 3.5, I'm going to click enter and type REF. Make sure it's all caps. Any text inside a CAD drawing is all caps. In our title block, we didn't put our caps for our name. Generally, you would in a professional drawing. It is somewhat stylistic based on the company, but I'd say, 95+% of companies would have all capitalization in their CAD drawings. Same deal on this 5 brackets. We're not going to click enter though, because we're a little short on space. I'm going to type REF and then just go ahead and click out. And that's it. So with that, we're going to go take a look at it in sheet 1. Everything's looking good. None of our dimensions are overlapping on the screen. If they are, what you can do is just come back into model space and just move that, move it so that it's going to fit better. Alternatively, you can double click into the viewport. You have to unlock it because remember we locked our viewport, so we're not able to pan the model. But if you unlock it, then you can kind of place it a little bit better on your page. The only thing is we have that border, so make sure the border is not showing. If the border is showing, I will take points off. Go ahead and lock. If you feel that it's safer to just do it in model space to move it around in model space, then go ahead and do that. There, right click on sheet 1, plot, page setup is hack title block, click OK. You should already be in your folder, and it's going to be lab 2 sheet 2 and then your initials. So I'm just going to click once right here. It'll bring up the file name, and then I can type, just change the 1 to a 2, click save. And there we have it. So I'm going to close this out. I'm just going to go into my folder here, open up lab 2 sheet 2 just to check what it looks like. And it's looking good, plotted perfectly every single time. And this is what you should submit to the lab 2 Dropbox for your sheet 2 submission.